We didn't really have a learning function, and the key objective for me was to really work out, okay, where's the organisation going and how does learning development need to support that. So on the back of undertaking some analysis across European business, it was very apparent that there was no structure and there was no access to any learning. And more to the point, we have very limited content. We have a very tiny team here. We have grown in the last year to a large number of 5 in the team. But the key element for me was to create a learning strategy and a learning vision that would really engage our team members here. The architecture that we kind of came up with was this academy approach. So obviously, like any other organisation, we have various functions and various departments, and it was thinking, right, okay, well, what does learning and development need to look like for finance, for example? The architecture is made up of academies, which is specific tailored learning. For, again, we'll take finance as an example. So anything that's finance related, it goes into the finance academy to make, you're the best accountant you can be. Seeing over the top of that, we have the generic learning, so your leadership and management, your personal and professional skills, that kind of stuff. And then it's like, okay, we now need a vehicle to house that and actually push that out to people across the business. Obviously, having an online platform is critical. So we then undertook an RFP, of which Hemsley Fraser, took part. It was pretty clear right from the off that people were engaging with the Hemsley Fraser platform, with the content that came along with that, and that was a big sell for us. It was a pretty simple decision. The look and feel, the intuitive feel around the platform, and I think Matthew kind of positioned it as the Netflix kind of approach, and again, that really stood out. There was a number of people involved in that decision-making process, and it was unanimous. So yeah, it's kind of taken our learning architecture and lifted it off paper and made it reality. Not only the availability of the content, but the style of the content. Fluid books with the short videos, that kind of stuff, is exactly aligned with the kind of learning culture that we're looking to drive here, which is making learning accessible, making it real time. I often use the example when I talk to colleagues here, which is creating that kind of YouTube effect. If you want to change a washer, certainly for me, where do I go? I go straight onto YouTube. Watch a couple of minutes of video, then I'm good to go. So that was a big piece. Not only having this catalogue, pre-prepared catalogue, but the topics were aligned in terms of the skills and the competencies we're looking to develop. But also the style. It's not too cheesy, it's up to date. And the other thing from the platform perspective is the colours. I know it sounds quite strange, but it's engaging. Also the built-in capability, to a lesser and greater extent around the reporting elements, and being able to track, being able to pin, being able to share. Again, just aligned in terms of the learning culture that we're looking to create. The other big piece for us is relationships. We're a very collaborative business. We're a very collaborative organisation. Their support has been, superb. It's around getting the bang for your buck, if you like. So, we're happy to pay more for the quality platform, but also the quality support that comes along with that. There's a couple of pieces that really do stand out for me, which is a business trip to the US, and it was an opportunity for me to market, socialise, talk about what we're doing from a European perspective. And what was critical for me was being able to showcase what we're doing, and it was at the point where our site, our business school, was just being created. It was really touch and go, and the platform went live about 24 hours before, And when I landed in the US, then logged on, I just couldn't access it. It just wouldn't fire up. And I think this is just, you know, a great example in terms of the support, you know, from Hemsley Fraser providing you know, a company that's gone live with this. Is, you know, within an hour of my call going in, we were live. You know, that enabled me to showcase. I could talk about it, and, you know, without a glitch. Very accessible. Anything that is spoken about or promised in terms of delivery is delivered, and it's delivered to a great standard. You know, we feel within the learning team here, if we have an issue, whether we're kind of struggling to upload an asset, well, we can just put a call in. And again, the turnaround is just great. Now, I've been involved in a number of, you know, technology launches in the learning space, and I think this was pretty unique for me when we went live, is that there was no technical issues at all. You know, the platform didn't fall over. Everybody had access. You know, that the whole Z card thing worked. You know, it couldn't have gone better from that perspective. So yeah, great partnership. You know, we launched April. 2nd of April, and you know that there was a lot of frantic work going on, like there is whenever you launch this kind of thing. But again, you know, the interaction with Matthew and the team was on point. You know, we had everything that we needed, and you know, going back to you know, one of the differentiators of why Hemsley Fraser won the business is the whole Z card thing. That kind of really blew people away. Upload your content, download the app, and bang, away it goes. So we kind of took that and we created our own Greystar Z card, and we used that as a desk drop. So on the day of the launch, you know, we got in early, put one of those Z cards on everybody's desk, and when they came in, it was kind of like, what's this? Obviously, instructions in there. We created some videos from our exec team, some narrative from country heads, so on and so forth. But it was the real bang. You know, here we go. Obviously, we had other comms that went along with that. We ran a couple of what we term as discovery sessions on the day of the launch, effectively lunch and learns. We had little branded cupcakes, you know, anything to try and persuade people to turn up and engage. But again, you know, the feedback since the launch, you know, has been nothing but positive. You know, I can't, you know, really pinpoint any real negative. You know, the biggest challenge we face here, and I think I alluded to it earlier, is around time. You know, people's interaction with the business school has been great, but like any platform launch, you know, you expect interaction to peak, which it has, and then tail off. But what I found and what I find encouraging is that, you know, spike, you know, lasted for about, you know, 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, and then it's just starting to tail off. Now, you know, there's a lot of encouragement, you know, that you can take from that, which is, you know, people are interacting with it. They have that thirst to learn. Our challenge in the learning space is to keep refreshing that you know, Greystar specific content. We've got our starting point, and you know, obviously a lot of hard work went into the launch, but for me the hard work really starts now, because you know, we've got to create that Greystar content, because by creating that then drives the engagement. You know, it's applicable. And you know, that brings to life what we're again looking to achieve, you know, which is having something that's agile and something that's accessible. The engagement and perception of learning, you know, has significantly increased, and that is solely down to having a platform that is, again, you know, agile, flexible, but the ability for people to engage with their learning and development, either at their desktop, on their mobile device, on their tablet, whatever it may be, is significant. And tracking the usage, you know, I'm surprised but encouraged that, you know, weekends. You know, people are jumping on the mobile and they're doing bite-sized big pieces of learning. So we've kind of gone from zero to hero. We are at that starting point to create the learning culture. And I think having this kind of platform really sets us off on the right track in terms of creating that culture, you know, what it needs to be, having that self-directed learning. So yeah, from a perception perspective, we're ticking a box. From an engagement perspective, we're also making good headway and getting people actually engaged. And our, you know, daily log on, you know, is demonstrating that. But again, there's always more to do in this space. I've worked with many providers over the years, and you know, you kind of buy the presentation, but then reality can, you know, not necessarily match up to that. And you know, again, I'd lend that more towards the support and the interaction. You know, it certainly wasn't a case of, right, we've landed the contract, that's it, crack on. It was kind of like, we've landed the contract, let's now give you the Hemsley Fraser experience. And the innovation piece, you know, I mentioned the Z card. I think that for me, and what I hope is a starting point in terms of, you know, technology innovation, but more importantly, technology innovation in the learning space. You know, I'm always interested to see what's going on in the AI space, in the VR space, and you know, let's see what augmented reality brings. But you know, I see our current environment as an environment that can really absorb that. So I'm really excited to see what Hemsley Fraser do in that space going forward.